You should not buy this video card. It's not worth it.
There's not a lot of reason to be excited about these cards. Hello everyone, welcome back to PC Species. I asked you not to wait for this graphics card and I was right. So we are talking about the RTX 5070 Ti today. And before anything else, we should start with the performance. So let us go straight to the benchmarks. So we start with Counter-Strike 2 1440p medium settings. The 5070 Ti is an overwhelmingly 1% fast than 4070 Ti Super and 6% faster than the 4070 Ti. It is 5% slower than the 5080 and 9% slower than the 7900 XT. Counter-Strike 2 4K medium, things look a little better. 5070 Ti is 9% faster than the 4070 Ti Super and 13% faster than the 4070 Ti. It is 11% slower than the 5080 and 4% faster than the 7900 XT. Now we move on to some AAA titles. Spider-Man Remastered 1440p, very high settings. Again, 1% faster than the 4070 Ti Super, 6% faster than the 4070 Ti, 13% slower than the 5080 and 4% faster than the 7900 XT. We move on to 4K. Spider-Man Remastered, very high settings, 5070 Ti, 5% faster than the 4070 Ti Super, 11% faster than the 4070 Ti, 10% slower than the 5080 and 12% faster than the 7900 XT. Now we move on to the game that has given the best gains on the RTX 5000 series. Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty 1440p, high quality, 8% faster than the 4070 Ti Super and 12% faster than the 4070 Ti, 18% slower than the 5080 and 9% faster than the 7900 XT. We move on to 4K. The 5070 Ti is 15% faster than the 4070 Ti Super, 19% faster than the 4070 Ti, 19% slower than the 5080 and 12% faster than the 7900 XT. Now we move on to ray tracing. Alan Wake 2 1440p, high quality, high ray tracing, quality upscaling. The 5070 Ti is 2% faster than the 4070 Ti Super, 9% faster than the 4070 Ti and 20% slower than the 5080. Now in ray tracing benchmarks, we are not including the 7900 XT because we know that it is going to get beaten into the ground. So there's no point in doing that. So Alan Wake 2 4K, high quality, high ray tracing, quality upscaling. The 5070 Ti is 10% faster than the 4070 Ti Super, 19% faster than the 4070 Ti and 23% slower than the 5080. Now, these gains may look a lot, but let us look at the real FPS numbers. So, the 10% gain over the 4070 Ti Super amounts to 3 FPS. And the 11% gain over the 4070 Ti amounts to, what does it amount to? The 19% gain over the 4070 Ti amounts to 6 FPS. Now we move on to Black Myth Wukong 1440p, very high quality, very high ray tracing, quality upscaling. 5070 Ti is 5% faster than the 4070 Ti Super, 11% faster than the 4070 Ti, 23% slower than the 5080. At 4K, Black Myth Wukong, very high settings, very high ray tracing, quality upscaling. 5070 Ti is 6% faster than the 4070 Ti Super, 13% faster than the 4070 Ti and 26% slower than the 5080. Again, the gains may look significant, but in terms of real FPS, the 6% gain over the 4070 Ti Super amounts to 2 FPS and the 13% gain over the 4070 Ti amounts to 4 FPS. We have taken a look at the performance and it is underwhelming to say the least, but it may have been alright if the card was available at MSRP, but we'll discuss that in a bit. Now, consider this. You pay 80,000 rupees, which was supposed to be the MSRP for the 5070 Ti. It has been moved up to 82,000 and it is still not available at that price. But again, we'll get to that later. At 82,000 rupees, you get a card on which you don't get to do high-end 4K gaming. So this is just an entry-level 4K gaming card on which you cannot use ray tracing at 4K, only at 1440p. Now, we have not included DLSS 4 or anything of that sort because we want a pure rasterization comparison. But even more disappointing is this. Nvidia GeForce India announced on their Instagram page that the card is going to be available on the 20th of February, 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. It is not available per se, but it is still around on some websites. So we'll start with PC Studio. Asus Prime 5070 Ti for 1,14,900 rupees, almost 1,15,000 rupees. Now, this was supposed to be an MSRP card, but let's not go there. Tough Gaming around 1,30,000. Now we move on to MD Computers. This is the cheapest example of the 5070 Ti that I could find, a Galax model. You get for 1,07,300 rupees. Here, if you take a look at the Prime, 1,15,500, and the Tough Gaming model is 1,26,000. Now we move on to Games and Comms. Now, if you remember, this is the website which had the cheapest RTX 5080s. Now they're out of stock, of course. So even the 5070 Ti's are not around. Only one of them shows the price, which shows it at 1,10,000. And if you open it and take a look, it is also out of stock. Now we go to Prime ABGB, no stocks at all. Now let us consider the cheapest one, 1,07,300 rupees for a 5070 Ti, and how far is it from the MSRP of a 5080, which is at 1,10,000. So based on this, the 5070 Ti is a card that you should absolutely not buy. So what do you buy? I've compiled a list of the alternatives, which starts with the 4070 Ti. Now, obviously 4070 Ti's are not widely available, and when they are, like this one, 80,499 rupees, it is absurd. Does not make sense at all. This one at 70,500, it's all right. I mean, if you just want to stick to Nvidia, you can probably go for it if you have a tighter budget. Now this is 75,000. This is 76,000. Again, just 4070 Ti's. In my opinion, you should not go for a 4070 Ti because it is too close to the price of the 4070 Ti Super, which we'll talk about here. So this is Prime ABGB, 85,333 for a 4070 Ti Super. Again, 85,699, 87,543. Wherever you want to look at the prices, and if there's a card that interests you, you can pause the video to take a look at the price. Now we move on to Vedant Computers, where we have examples around 87, 87, 82. So 4070 Ti went for Super. 4070 Ti Super WindForce Max OC 16GB GDDR6X for 82,000 rupees. And if we move on to MD Computers, this is the one you have. Again, 83,000. It is costlier than the one that we looked at before. If you go to Computech, 82,000 rupees. 4070 Ti Super WindForce Max OC 16GB for 82,000 rupees. This is all right. Now, again, this is another example. 4070 Ti Super from Zotac, Trinity Black Edition, 81,000 rupees. Now, so if you're someone who is willing to pay the price of a 5070 Ti, which is over 1 lakh rupees, I'd suggest that if you can let go of ray tracing, you go for a 7900 XTX, which can trade blows with the RTX 5080 in terms of rasterization. It has 24 gigs of video memory, and you can have it for around 95,000 rupees. But then again, we should go back to the price that the RTX 5070 Ti was supposed to be around, and the alternative comes to 7900 XT. Now, this is a 20GB model. You can get for 73,000, 77, 79. Now, this one is probably an XTX. Yeah. So you can take a look at it here. And ASRock 7900 XTX 24 gigs for 93,000. But then again, we are going to go back to the 7900 XT and we'll look at the cheapest one available. I'm not able to see the tabs here. All right. So 68,000, 73,000. Again, this goes up to 7900 XTX. You don't have to take a look at it. If you want to, you can pause the video. So here's PC Studio, again 69,800, 7,100, 73,000 for the 7900 XT. Now the cheapest example I could find was on Vishal Peripherals. So 65,220. For this price, the 7900 XT with 20 gigs of video memory and very good rasterization performance, almost comparable to the 5070 Ti in a lot of games and not very far behind it. So this is a very good card if you do not care about ray tracing and all of that. The conclusion is that you absolutely should not buy the RTX 5070 Ti. If you want, you can go for the 4070 Ti Super. If you don't care about ray tracing, there's 7900 XT and 7900 XTX. Other than that, now I already told you that there is no need to wait for the 5070, and based on this, the RTX 5070 Ti actually has an advantage in terms of specs over the 4070 Ti Super, and it is still not able to, generate enough gains to generate interest in the card, and especially not at the price that it has been launched at. And the 5070 actually has a disadvantage when it comes to the 4070 Super when compared to the 4070 Super. So if you're an Nvidia fan, you just pull the trigger on a 4070 Super or a 4070 Ti Super. If you want to see what AMD does, you can probably wait for the 9070 XT or the 9070. Other than that, there is absolutely no value in the 5070 Ti at the price that it is available at. So this is it for this video, and I mean, this has been underwhelming to say the least, and to some extent infuriating as well. But I hope this video wasn't not infuriating for you. If that is the case, then please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot, and we'll see you in the next one.